Okay. Allow me to get all this figured out, and then we can actually begin. It's not what I'm trying to do here. Not what I'm trying to do. Stop buzzing, speakers. You weren't buzzing about a minute ago. Okay. Listen to me smack my lips. Okay, hopefully you're able to hear me, because I have my my microphone on the... I guess I'll turn myself up, because I got my microphone on the other side of my desk, because I had to open up my tower the other day to clean it out, because it got kind of dusty. I had to go buy some air in a can, for lack of a better way to put it, and spray out, because my the cooler that I got attached to my video card stopped working, and it literally shut down my whole system, and I was like, whoa, that ain't good. So I had to straighten that out. That was a bad deal. Give me a second to tweet this out. Anyways, we're gonna go through just an argument that I had earlier today on Twitter. That's pretty much the reason for the stream, because I pretty much, I'll show you the tweets in a second here, but I pretty much complained once again that the people who disagree with me, they fundamentally, and it's always been the case, that the people that oppose me, like, they don't even know why. The people who disagree with me, they don't even know why. They don't even know what the fuck I'm saying. It's just so annoying, because it's like, I don't have any kind of real opposition. I don't really have people who disagree with me that can actually justifiably disagree with me and do so in a way that's actually intelligent. It's just, it doesn't happen. Like, it just never does. The people who disagree with me, they fundamentally, they start off by misunderstanding everything that I say. They aren't able to follow what I'm saying. And then, so they're arguing, in essence, with a straw man. And no matter how often I try to get them on track, like, I'm helping them by having to reassert myself over and over and over again, because they just don't understand what I'm saying, it never helps. It never does anything. You know, I remember a while ago, I had an argument with somebody, and I pretty much held their hand so that they could at least understand what the fuck I was saying. And they're like, oh, now I get it. That was like over a year ago that I had that happen to me. Where finally somebody was like, oh, I've been misunderstanding you the whole time. It's like, yeah, welcome to my fucking world. You know, welcome to the world of being a small-time e-celeb. Where the people who disagree with you, fundamentally, they don't understand what the fuck you're saying. They're disagreeing with you. They don't even understand what the fuck you're even arguing. It's just so goddamn annoying. Oh shit. Now what's going on? My fucking phone's been going off the hook recently. Anyways, yeah. Is my phone really going to be chiming the whole time? I might have to mute my fucking phone. Anyways, we should be good now. Anyways. Yeah, I don't really know if I'm going to be going into... Because I've been considering doing a video on the shooting with that police woman. There's a bunch of stuff that I've been considering finally. It's just... It always is it is, you know. Anytime that there's something to talk about, there's 100 things that come at once. There's the Tucker segment. There's the shooting. There's the riots. Like, it's all at once. It's all at once. It's how it always happens. Is that whenever there's something actually... you know, worth talking about, it's always all at the same time. It's never just, you know, okay, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's always just it's in one day that suddenly there's 1,000 fucking things to talk about. So, let's scroll back to the beginning here. I like this photo. This is very cute right here. Anyways, so I started this 3 hours ago. Yeah, it was at 11 o'clock. I went out. This was me coming back from getting coffee. I woke up at like 10, and I went out and got coffee, came back, and then I just tweeted this out because I saw this. It's from 2 days ago from fucking Ben & Jerry's. So here is the tweet in context, okay? The murder of Dante Wright, who is the guy that got shot by the woman, if I'm not mistaken, is rooted in white supremacy and results from the internal criminalization of black and brown communities. This system cannot be reformed. That is an inherently revolutionary statement. That is saying that the United States itself is irredeemable. And the problem is that when people talk about the system, they mean the Constitution. Like, this is the problem with all of you. Like, you either understand this or you don't, okay? Because some people that follow me understand this, but a lot of you people that do follow me and that disagree with me, a lot of you don't actually watch my content, so you're basically stunted. You listen to you follow my tweets on Twitter, you don't actually listen to what I say. So that's how it's very easy for you to argue straw man against me, to fundamentally misunderstand what I'm saying to you. Because you don't actually follow my content. You don't actually listen to what I'm saying. You just go off of what other people have said or whatever's rolling around in your mind. You don't even ask for clarification. You just go off into la-la land and argue against straw men. Because it's a lot easier to do that for you than it is for you to get the round peg in the round hole and understand what the fuck I'm even saying. So this is where we begin. This system cannot be reformed. They're talking about the U.S. Constitution. They're talking about the foundation of the nation that gives you your fucking rights, okay? This is the end result. This is the last tweet that I have as it relates to what I'm talking about. If the Constitution doesn't exist, if the Constitution isn't enforced, you have no rights. What are they arguing? That the Constitution needs to go. Well, Louis, you're arguing against their free speech. You're arguing against their free speech. They don't believe in free speech, you fucking retards! Why is it that I feel like the only person in the room with any sense at all? Why is it that I'm the only one sitting here that can understand what these fucking people are arguing? Why is it that you are more worried about their rights and, oh, I'm opposing them, that means I'm not liberal! I'm not a liberal! Because I'm not in favor of revolution! Oh no! What is wrong with me? What, do you support the Chinese? Or are you a sympathizer with the Chi-Coms, Louis? Oh, what are you saying? You're not liberal! Neither are they! I don't understand what is wrong with people. They're not liberals! Why can't you fucking understand that? They want the whole thing gone. They want the Constitution gone. They want all the enforcement mechanisms to enshrine and protect your rights gone. Why can't you understand that? Why am I the fucking bad guy? It must be dismantled and a real system of public safety rebuilt from the ground up. They mean something that isn't America. They mean something that isn't the United States Constitution. They're not just talking about the police, policing. They're talking about the nation. America. They're talking about the entire fucking thing. That's what it's all about. If you don't understand that, you are retarded. They are telling you overtly the whole thing, the whole system, everything. It needs to be gone. Every fucking day they say this. You know, it really is amazing to me. And so, this is the beginning. This is what I'm responding to. It's a declaration of revolution. And so, I say in response to this, do you think China would allow for a company to be openly seditious and call for a revolution? Okay? The difference isn't that I want America to be China. I think China's a fucking shithole. I'm an American nationalist, you fucking retards! What do you think I think? You know, it's like, this is the thing, like, do you understand what a nationalist is? If you are a Chinese nationalist, what do you think they think? If you are an American nationalist, what do you think they think? If I am an American nationalist, why would I think foreign nations are superior? Doesn't that sort of contradict the idea of being a nationalist? When you are a nationalist, you don't think foreign is superior. I know that's kind of a hard it's a difficult concept to get around. Really difficult. Really Byzantine. You know, it's very difficult to understand that sort of concept. But I have to say that is the concept. That is what I am. That is the reality of what it is to be a nationalist. So, I don't think China is superior to the United States. The question isn't, or it's like they're saying that I'm issuing a statement. China is superior to the United States. Like, they read this, and that's what they think I'm saying. What I'm saying is that America isn't serious. America is not a serious nation. China is a serious nation. China takes itself very seriously. They see themselves as a serious nation, and so they carry themselves in a serious manner. America, especially under the Biden administration, is not serious. We don't take ourselves seriously. And neither does the rest of the fucking world, by the by. I don't know if anyone's paying the fuck attention to international relations now that we have a Democrat in office. Suddenly no one gives a fucking shit about international affairs the minute we have a Democrat in office. But right now the world isn't taking us very seriously. Why? Because we don't take ourselves very seriously. You know, what can I say? What can I say other than at times it feels as though that I'm the only person in the fucking world who is still sane? So, I will reiterate, just for the point of argument, that when I asked the question, do you think China would allow for a company to be openly seditious and call for a revolution? It's not praising China or, you know, on my hands and knees, just basking in the warm glow of China or some shit like that. It's saying China takes itself seriously. We don't. That's the fucking argument. Jesus H. Christ. Do I need to fucking put it in some kind of simplified English for anyone in this world to fucking understand? You know, this is the problem of modernity. We got access to all this information and everyone's well read. Everyone's well read. Everyone's gone to a better university than I did. Everyone's so fucking bright. And yet people cannot understand simple fucking concepts related to unorthodox thinking. You know, as soon as I introduce the concept of America being serious, or, you know, the concept of a foreign nation taking itself seriously and us not, people enter into this fucking retard tribalistic thinking of black and white. Oh, you're saying China good, America good. America not free, but America good. Oh, hold on. Let's take a fucking second to ponder this. does the nationalist think America good? No. Obviously, with this question, the nationalists think America bad. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. It really is just so... but this is the thing. It's like I said, hold on. Let me find the... We'll back off. Oh, hold on. Let me scroll up. Okay. This is my opposition. This Wojak accurately reflects my opposition. This is the most simplistic, the most brief that I could ever be in explaining my opposition. This is you. Square peg, round hole, you are incapable of understanding what the fuck I am even saying. You think I'm wrong, and yet you are unable to comprehend what the fuck I am even saying to you. This is you. This is my opposition. And it drives me insane because this is all I got for my opposition, for those that disagree with me. You can't even comprehend what the fuck I'm even saying to you. You invent straw men to argue against in trying to defeat what I'm saying, to demonize me, to say that I'm a shill for the Chinese or whatever, that I'm arguing in favor of totalitarianism. It's like, what I love about that too, what I love is like, Louis, you're arguing in favor of totalitarianism. You go back, okay? What the fuck are the progressives? What are these people arguing in favor of? What are they arguing in favor of? You know, the merger of left-wing corporatism and the, anarcho-tyranny of left-wing bureaucracy, the merger of those systems, that isn't totalitarian to you? That's better? That's superior to the fucking Chinese? In any way? The merger of state and hegemonic corporate power, that's morally superior to the fucking Chinese? What is wrong with you? Why are you so fucking morally bankrupt and fucking blind? It's just so stupid. As though that I'm the fucking bad guy. I'm the illiberal person. What are they arguing for? It's like all you fucking idiots woke up yesterday. You woke up yesterday and you see my tweet as though it's the first fucking thing you ever seen on fucking Twitter. I can't stand the world in which we live because everyone on the face of this fucking earth thinks that they're so smart. And yet they're just totally morally bankrupt. They have no concepts of differing, how you can actually weigh something morally. How you can evaluate something morally. Their basic moral understanding of the world is like Empire, Republic, and fucking Star Wars. That's how they view the fucking world. They fundamentally reject the whole idea. And that's the thing that is so painfully obvious throughout this. Is that if you're faced with two bad choices, that you are given two bad choices of do nothing or do something. And that do something might not be fucking morally perfect, but it may be required for you to do in order to defend yourself and others. That if you are concerned about rights and liberty within the United States, it may require that you do something. And that thing you do might not be morally fucking perfect or utopian, but it may be something you have to do. And their choice is do nothing, which is objectively more immoral than doing the thing. And yet every fucking time their answer is do nothing. And that's just apathy. That is immoral. That is immoral. It's just so amazing to me. It's like, okay, let's say that in the United States, it's something similar to what's in China. There's people being genocided black people are being genocided, something like that, okay? Black people are being genocided. Do you just not do anything, or do you do something, even though the something you may do might not be morally perfect? If you do nothing, you're immoral. But that's the thing they're arguing. Well, because what you argue isn't morally perfect, therefore, do nothing. That's the more moral option. Do nothing. Or, let's just all sit around and talk to find the perfect moral fucking solution, even though it'll only ever be rhetorical. That's what it'll always be. It'll always be fucking rhetorical. Your perfect moral landscape of what to do. It'll only ever be something that is an abstraction you talking about. It's just so... Here's what I love, okay? Here's what I love, right? Put Ben and Jerry's in fucking China, okay? Forget about the United States. Let's put Ben and Jerry's in China. Ben and Jerry's would bend over and take it up the ass and do everything they're fucking told. Ben and Jerry's are weak. They would do everything they're told. And so would you fucking cowards. You would do everything you're fucking told because you have no moral foundation to what you fucking believe. You have no moral foundation. You have no moral convictions. You are just apathetic and rhetoricians. That's all you have is your fucking bullshit rhetoric about the perfect world and the perfect things to do and how I'm the fucking bad guy. I'm the bad guy because I want to do something over nothing. I'm the bad guy. But the fact is that you're standing on nothing. You have no moral foundation for what you believe. And the people that are over here calling for revolution in China would do fucking nothing other than suck off, fillet the fascist fucking state. Why? Because the fascist fucking state will crush them. They will crush them, imprison them, kill them. And that's why they will do whatever they're fucking told. Because they're cowards. They're craven. Just like you. But I'm over here with moral convictions, with actual understanding for what I believe and why. I have thought about these things. I have thought about what I would do. Why? What are my convictions? What are my principles? You aren't. You're thoughtless. You're thoughtless, and that's why you can't understand what the fuck I'm saying. It's why you can't understand my argumentation. You're incapable because you're thoughtless. You put no thought into what you fucking believe. No thought into the question of what to do. If you're given choices, what you can do. If you're facing a revolutionary opposition, what do? You have no thought invested. Just rhetoric. Just bullshit. That's all you got. No moral foundation. So you can shut the fuck up. Anyways, I said this, and there were several people. Some of them just disagreed because they fundamentally misunderstood the point. But then other people, like Matt B here, Matt Vidya, just went on and on and on and on and on. Not understanding anything that I was saying. Not understanding the faintest fucking idea. Not having the faintest fucking clue to what I'm saying here. Even though I spell it out to him. Doesn't understand what the fuck I'm saying. The whole time. Still doesn't. Still doesn't understand. He's not the only one. But he's the biggest fucking retard. So, let us go through this. And I'm not trying to pick on this guy, but he is dumb as a fucking block. And he's as dumb as a fucking salt lick. He's just so stupid. And so, this is the chain of events. And I'm not trying to pick on this guy, but he is so representative of what I'm talking about from my opposition. They're just stupid. So, I say, The people uncomfortable with this question come from the Tim Pool school of craven cuckoldry and think living in the woods will save them. And very briefly, I'm just going to explain what I mean by this. You think that because you haven't grafted, using your small brain, you haven't grafted together the perfect fucking thing to say. Oh, we haven't found the perfect rhetoric. Therefore, do nothing. Run away. What did Tim Pool do? He ran the fuck away. He had no solutions for the world that he found himself in. He found himself in a completely morally bankrupt, evil fucking society. He didn't know what the fuck to do. He couldn't advocate anything because it's not perfect. It's not morally perfect. So what did he do? He ran and created a compound in the middle of fucking nowhere, and I am not exaggerating. That is what he did. He ran the fuck away from society and created a compound in the middle of nowhere. And just recently had some big blowout meltdown with some faggot fucking friend of his who he was like dorming with. Guy buys a compound and is like, has like a roommate or some shit and just had some flame out breakdown with the guy. Which, I mean, to me, it's just like, I don't want to make fun of Tim Pool too much, but it's like, Tim Pool, a guy who escapes from society, runs away from society, and is so dysfunctional, even in his own compound, can't even have a fucking roommate. Guy can't even have a fucking roommate. He's so dysfunctional. He can't get along with anyone. You know? Even on his own compound in the middle of the fucking woods, he has some total breakdown with his roommate. Anyways. So, Matt says in response to me, and again, I'm not picking on Matt because he's not the only one that believes this. There's several people that responded to this tweet who are taking the same thing away. And he says, are you saying we should be like China? And I say, does being like China include the continuation of the United States? Does it include the native population not being continuously demonized? Does it include having a functional and orderly society that doesn't cater to criminals? At some point, neoliberalism becomes less moral. So, is this hard to understand? Is this very difficult to understand what I'm arguing by this? That it's this simple, okay? I'm not arguing China's moral. I'm arguing that at some point we could become less moral than the Chinese system. If you disagree with me, then you are just in la la land. You fundamentally don't understand the idea of power, let alone the implementation. You don't understand power itself. Power simply is. And there is nothing that is a bulwark from our system becoming more totalitarian than the Chinese. There's nothing inhibiting it, especially based on your do-nothing standard. Simply that, oh, China bad. Well, China being bad doesn't make us good, dumbass. China can be bad, and we could be worse. Neoliberalism is not a moral foundation. It's not a good system. And it is in many ways totalitarian. So what are you even saying? And can you understand my fucking point, dumbass? Obviously not. So he says in response, then actual totalitarianism, no, never. And it's like, you literally aren't thinking. How can you say this? You fundamentally don't understand the nature of power. Okay, hey Matt, here's an idea. Somehow I become in charge of the United States government. I consolidate power to myself. Whatever mechanisms that I can create to do that, I do that. And now I am basically the tyrant of America. I am the king of America. And I have you shot. Are we now worse than China? Or are we more equivalent? Or what do you think? If I become the king of America and have you shot, is that equivalent to China? And if so, does your no never still stand? You know, this is what I'm saying here. You fundamentally don't even understand what you're arguing or what the argument is. You just don't get it. You just think China bad, us good. And it's like, hey, dumbass, we could be worse. We always could be worse. What is inhibiting us? What? This is basic shit. No, never. No, never, as though it's impossible. No, never. Like, put that on a fucking placard for Nazi Germany. No, never. No, never. Just, what can I say? No, never. Like, you are dumb. You fundamentally don't understand anything. Like, did you go to college, bro? I think you did. What the fuck were you taught there? Was it how to be an obedient corporate slave? To champion the liberty and the freedom of drag queen story hour and drag kids and degenerate shit? Oh, freedom! Freedom to be a corporate slave in a fake democracy. Freedom! Where democracy is an illusion. Hail Emperor Biden. Freedom! Just dumb. No, never. What can I say? So I say in response to him, you're being thoughtless. You care more about the illusion of being free than actually being it. Which is the truth. This is me taking him, despite the fact that he's given me an erroneous argument. That's what he's offering in response to me, is an erroneous argument. I'm taking that, totally just throwing it in the trash can, and now just throwing an argument right back at him, which is, you're dumb, and you care more about the illusion of being free. The illusion to be a drug-addled, fucking junkie, degenerate piece of shit. That's freedom to you. You can be unfree in every other way, but you have the freedom to be a fucking drug-addicted, suicidal junkie and a leftist. You have that freedom in this country. And that to you is good enough because there's the illusion of freedom. And so what does he say in response? I know the Chinese aren't free. And it's like, again, it's like, who the fuck are you arguing with? I know the Chinese aren't free. Hey, everyone. Hey, everyone listening to this right now. There's 500 people listening to this. Hey, everybody. Did you know the Chinese aren't free? Imagine, it would be like being in Nazi Germany. And it's like, you're in Nazi Germany, you're a Jew, you have a fucking member of the SS putting a gun to the back of your head, and you have a pin on your lapel that says, at least it isn't China. At least we're not in China. You know, you don't have work will set you free written in German over the camp. You say, at least it isn't China. What kind of, like, this is like freshman level fucking retard equivocation. Like, equivocation so dumb that you would think no one in their right mind would ever say it. No one that didn't want to humiliate themselves would ever say something like this. But that's what's going on here. So I say in response to him, no shit, stupid, but if you take an equivalent system, put it here, and have a woke coat of paint on it, you'd still be, you'll still be dumb enough to view that as more moral than dismantling it, because doing anything other than complying to the status quo is tyranny to you and Tim Pool. And nail on the head. Just nail on the fucking head. Could not be any more right. Could not be any more right. And he says, if I recall, you were advocating for censoring speech earlier. Has the goalpost shifted already? And it's just like, that was your fucking straw man, dumbass. That was your totally erroneous interpretation. And what I love is, hold on, bro. You want to censor speech for a corporation? You want to censor the speech of people that want to get rid of the United States Constitution? That want us to all be enslaved? Oh, man, you want to censor these people that are revolutionaries? Against the Constitution? Against the entire concept of property rights? Oh, you want to censor their speech, bro? Oh, have you thought about the speech rights of revolutionaries that want to take away all of yours? Oh, guys, hello? Hello? Have you thought about the rights of those that want to take away your rights? Hello? And so I say in response to him, and this is, I think, where I ended it. Yeah, I ended it with this. I say, you are a literal mental midget. You are stuck in a framework that doesn't even make sense to what I'm saying. You're ready to fall on your sword for those that would see you dead and view me as the enemy of liberty. Like I said, thoughtless. And it is. It absolutely is. Like, this guy is not even thinking about what the fuck he is saying to me. He's just creating an argument for him to argue against. He's creating it. When in no way is that the point of this statement. In no way is that the point. You know? It really is just pathetic. But the issue is it's not even this guy. It's not about this guy. It is simply, this is my opposition. These are the people who argue against me. And they not only can they not argue against me, because they just can't. They refuse to. They refuse to just take on my arguments. They refuse to do it. Even when I'm over and over and over again explaining it. I'm over and over and over again explaining it. I'm trying to make it clear to them. I'm clarifying over and over again. People are like, Louis, you repeat yourself. You repeat yourself, Louis. Why do you think? Oh, I have to repeat myself because apparently no one on earth can understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. They're inventing fucking arguments that I'm not making. And then saying, whoa, bro, are you shifting the goalpost? Who's shifting anything but you? I said in response to this, after one of the things I said to him, I said, some of you just don't get it. Morality to you is elusive rather than actual, which is, this is the hard, like, rubber meets the road thing. Like, you have to understand that morality is composed of your actions. Reality is, okay? Reality is. Power is. We're talking about reality. We're talking about what is going on, not concepts, not ideals. What is? That's what we're talking about. And it's the thing that angers me so much is the abstractions. The abstractions. Oh, we need to go in La La Land. We need to talk about La La Land. Fantasy, my ideals, utopia, that's where we need to go. No, reality. Reality. What is? What is? Let's talk about what is. And what is. Reality is. You don't have to argue about it. Oh, the truth. The truth. The truth is. Reality is. There is no arguing it. Stop arguing what is. I'm trying to say what is and what we can do. What can we do? What should we do about what is? So this is how you understand what I'm saying. It's either your ideal or you run away from reality. You refuse to see what is. You refuse. I'm not saying that I have the perfect solution. That I'm the only person with any kind of argument. That I'm the person that can fix it all. I got the fucking silver bullet to fix the whole fucking problem in the West. That isn't my position. That isn't my argument as it relates to anything. But I am saying that at the very fucking minimum, let us recognize what is rather than your fucking ideal. Fuck your ideals. Fuck your rhetoric. Fuck your utopia. What is all that matters. It's how you move from there. And if you're unwilling to do that, you can't. Then see, that's the thing. That's the understanding I have that they don't. What I have that they don't. They refuse to recognize reality. And so that's why they have no solutions. That's why all they have is fucking rhetoric. Because they refuse to recognize reality. They want to delude themselves and be in la la land and talk about their perfect world and their ideals. They refuse to recognize reality, and that's why they have no solutions, no actual arguments. Because for their arguments, it requires that reality is something other than what it is. That's why everything for them is fucking conceptual. Everything for them is an abstraction because they don't want to acknowledge reality. And that is the only basis by which that you can do anything that anyone is going to perceive to be moral, because you have to recognize reality in order to do it, in order to take the first fucking step. How can you solve anything if you don't acknowledge reality? All your solutions are going to be based on something other than reality. And you will solve nothing. You will have no solutions for anything because you're basing your arguments, your solutions on something other than reality. And guess what? When you find solutions, when you offer arguments, when you try to solve or better reality, not everything you're going to argue is going to be perfectly morally good. It's not necessarily going to be morally perfect. It's not going to be up to your perfected utopian ideal. Because you're dealing with reality, not the ideal. This is the separation, people. This is, every time, dude, I argue about morality. It's like I am in college. I just get nothing but flashbacks to when I was in college, arguing about these things in class, talking to people who simply would not just accept reality. They think that argumentation, actual argumentation, means that everyone should accept that person's individual fantasy, that person's individual ideal, when it is useless. It is useless. It is a waste of fucking time. Every argument, as it relates to politics, should be based on reality. Not fiction, not narrative, not your ideal. Reality. If you want to say we need to get from A to B, how do we get there? Start with what the fucking reality is. You know, it really was. There was so much of that when I was in college. So much of that. The refusal to just acknowledge reality for what it was. And to base everything off of something other than reality. And think that I am going to honestly engage with you on that basis. That you think I'm seriously going to accept that. And I never did. I never fucking did. I never did when I was in college. Anytime I argued, or anyone on YouTube, or anytime I've had any kind of argument with anybody. I'm not here to accept your false fucking reality, to accept your ideal and go from there. If you want to have some kind of honest conversation with me, any kind of honest argument, especially about politics, we're starting with what reality is. If you don't accept it, then fuck you. Fuck you. You're not a serious person. You're not arguing in a serious manner. You're not making a serious argument. You're not offering a serious position. You have the argumentation, and the basis of a fucking child. I'm over here talking about reality. You're over there arguing about Santa Claus. Oh, well, it makes me feel good, Louis. It makes me feel good to believe in horse shit. Anyways, I'll say this to the chat, because now we have over 600 people in here. Am I making sense to the chat? Am I off base? Is there any questions anyone has? Any clarifications people need? I'm being a little bit too I'm using too much verbiage that people can't quite understand. Do I need to break it down a little bit more? Do I need to simplify what the fuck I'm even saying? Or do people get it? Can people understand what the fuck I'm saying? I'm already losing my voice. It doesn't matter. So I see, if anyone has any clarifications, I guess send a super chat for 99 cents or something. Send a 50-cent super chat, and I'll address it. I'll address your confusion, your arguments, anything, okay? Send it now! Send it now! Hit me with the best you fucking got now! You disagree with anything that I said on Twitter earlier today? You disagree with me? Whatever, send it now! Hit me with the best you fucking got! And I'm being dead serious about that. Dead serious about get me, refute me, defeat me, humiliate me. Do it! I'm waiting for the fucking day that the people who disagree with me can even understand what the fuck I'm saying. When what I'm saying is freshman level shit. How did any of you fucking stupid niggers get a degree from college? Most people have a degree from college at this point. How many people sitting here have a degree who don't understand what the fuck I'm saying? How did you get it? All right. Let's get to these fucking super chats. Base Cumsock, great name, says, great to see more content from the pastor. Love the content. Thank you. Base Cumsock. The Get says, I feel like history started 5 years ago. Well, what can I say? For most people, it fucking did. It drives me fucking insane. Cubix85 says, I don't have a Twitter account, nor do I want one. If I run headfirst into the corner of a brick wall over and over again, will it be an articulate enough simulation of the experience? Yeah. What can I say? Bazinski says, shit, my nigga Louis, be on fire, jogging the joggers. Jogging the joggers, actually. Thank you. The Get says, the right has been simping for corporations for decades just for them to espouse every progressive trope and now openly call for revolution. And a similar thing is happening with police simping. I really think the right has a humiliation fetish. Well, I would say only some, and they're being kicked out of the fucking party slowly. I said to someone earlier over direct message that say whatever you want to, the nationalists are winning. Okay, Tucker Carlson's going out talking about Israel and the Great Replacement in America. Okay, we're fucking winning right now. The nationalists are winning in America, and it's very clear that that's the case. All the people that are jockeying to be the 2024 candidate are all overtly out there making nationalist arguments. It's yeah, you could say whatever the fuck you want to about us or me or anything, but the nationalists are winning right now, and you can sit down, suck a dick, and go join the other side. You don't want to join our side? Go join the other side. I couldn't give a shit less. Go join their side. Go join the side of corporate hegemony in the merger with the deep state. Go join that side. Go do it and claim that you're moral. Go ahead. Go ahead and join them. Because you'll just be a fucking useful idiot, and eventually you'll be fucking oppressed. Go have fun over there. I'm on this side. You can go be on their side. I'll be on this side. Because we're the side with any kind of moral foundation. Any kind of moral foundation. That's this side, not that side. Go have fun over there. I'm very comfortable on this side with some semblance of a moral foundation to it. Okay? Let's see here. These Hands says, "Hey Louis, the establishment I was working at caught fire this morning. Wow. The establishment, the business he was working at caught fire this morning, so I'm off for the rest of the day. Happy to be here for the sermon." Well, that's too bad. Hopefully you still have a job. Mainly Misheard says, "Did you get my retweet of Jack Posobiec displaying Chris Rock's PSA of obey the law?" Yeah, I retweeted that a while ago. The Evangelist says, "Liberalism proved itself not worth defending last year. I saw a post from the American Fascist Union on Instagram that was more libertarian than anything the Libertarian Party has said in early 10 years. I'm not sure the last part of what you're saying there. Well, it's a matter of, like, liberalism has basically decided that it's basically, the way that I could explain it is that liberalism has abandoned reality, okay? If you look at the Founding Fathers, who are all revolutionary intellectuals, I mean, you have to understand that when they wanted what they wanted, they fought for it violently. Okay? The revolutionary, the Founding Fathers and the American Revolution was not about volunteerism. It wasn't about all these abstract concepts. It was, this is our nation now. You can either join us or you're going to get the fuck out because we're going to kill you. And that's what happened. So it isn't to say that violence is the solution, but it is to say that in order for liberalism to work, you can't abandon force. You can't abandon violence. But that's what people are arguing for. And that's the problem with liberalism today. It's like liberalism has accepted the idea that any kind of force, any kind of violence is immoral. It's like insane cuckoldry pacifism. And as I've been saying for like as long as I've been on YouTube, I am not a pacifist. I oppose pacifism. And if you are a pacifist, you are immoral. I am moral. I have a moral foundation. You are immoral. Because you are the person who would watch a child being raped and say, well, if you interfere with that rape, that sounds like you're using force. That's immoral. Oh, and people could say whatever they want to, that I'm being malevolent or malicious or I'm exaggerating. But no, that is your perspective. That if you see evil happening, the more moral thing to do is stand down and not do anything. You are a pacifist. You will do nothing as your entire world is engulfed in evil. And I am the person with the moral foundation saying, no, evil should be massacred. Evil should not be tolerated. And we should use force to prevent it and to stop it where it exists. I'm more moral, you're immoral. I'm not perfectly moral. It's not my argument. But I do know that you're less moral than I am. Because you argue for inaction in the face of evil. Say whatever you want to, that is your position. And you can have that opinion as long as you want to, because either we're going to win or they are. So have fun. Have fun, Tim Pool, in the woods. You can go join Tim Pool's dysfunctional compound in the woods, where one day you two are going to melt down over some argument and have a falling out. Meanwhile, we're coalescing. Just remember that regardless of who wins, you're going to lose. You're going to lose in the end, because either the progressives are going to win and they're going to murder you, or we're going to win. And I guess you'll find out what happens. Just remember that. It's like William Lloyd, and this is from the Engaged Few, says, it's like William Lloyd Garrison versus Abraham Lincoln vis-a-vis the Emancipation Proclamation. Garrison hated the proclamation because he thought it didn't go far enough, but Garrison never freed a single slave while Lincoln freed millions. Yeah, I guess I understand with what you're saying with that. That Garrison was looking for his ideal versus Lincoln trying to just achieve something imperfectly as possible. And I would say that based on what we know, that whatever it would be, is it, oh God, is it the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments? I'm trying to remember the one that does birthright citizenship, which amendment that is. But that amendment, good idea. Oh my God, bad implementation. And what kind of lasting consequences? I forget which it was. Maybe the 15th. I forget which. But good idea. Oh my God, were the consequences to that devastating? The Engaged View also says, in the modern world, too many people will equate reading and education with intelligence when the truth is that the first two are often the death of the last one. Yeah, exactly. Because the thing is that people, they're conformists, whether they want to admit it or not. Like Tim Pool, for all his hipster bullshit, is a conformist. Tim Pool is a conformist. You know, the problem is that, am I saying that he's not independent and he's not independently successful and an entrepreneur and all that? No, he is willing to fight to not be a corporate cog. Like, he is willing to fight for that. But when it comes to opinions, arguments, speech, he's an absolute conformist. Because who on his show, other than like gimmick people like Alex Jones, who he had on and was like sitting there white-knuckled the entire time, afraid that he was going to have his whole platform taken down over some stupid, inane shit that Alex Jones would say. But when it comes to unorthodox voices, unorthodox ideas, unorthodox views, he simply does not have them on his show. And it is, one, because he's afraid of being taken down. Yes, true, and I'll grant that. I'm not discounting that. It's a legitimate thing to be worried about. But it's also because he's intellectually a coward. He's craven. He can't answer any of the fucking unorthodox views that he's going to potentially bring on, so he's afraid of bringing them on for that reason. And there's been more than one person that has wanted to come on his show and that he is challenged, that he is openly challenged to come on his show. They've accepted, and he just straight up pretends it never happened. More than one at this point. And the reason is, A, afraid of losing his platform, legitimate reason, fine. But B, he is a fucking coward because he knows that he's such an intellectual conformist, he won't be able to fucking deal with their unorthodox views. He can't deal with them. So he's avoiding them. You know, I'm more than willing to grant him the first thing. I'm in no way discounting that. But the fact is that the second, the latter, is equally as fucking true for why they don't come on his show. And he could prove me wrong. You know, it's why I'm not trying to demonize Tim. I shit on Tim because I think that he is the perfect representation of a lot of people that I disagree with. Like, he really encapsulates what I disagree with. And so I'm not trying to demonize the guy, but the fact is he's no fucking angel, and in many ways he's an intellectual coward. He has positive qualities, but that's not one of them. You know? Cowboy Curtis says, freedom ain't free. The tree of liberty and freedom has got to be littered with the blood of patriots. Joe Two Stacks Biden, a.k.a. Joe Sniff, is not my president. He's a neo-lib governmentist and probably a pedo as well. Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. Okay, praise Jesus. What is the phrase? Christ is king. Yeah, I mean, so that's the thing. Is like the question is, Louis. I had somebody the other day argue with like a groiper. That they're trying to defend me, and they're arguing with a groiper, and they're like, no, Louis good. Like, what are you even saying? Like, Louis a good guy. Stop, saying that he's like an asshole or whatever. And it's like, you know, I don't understand how people on the right can be like, oh, screw Louis. You know, when Louis, like, if the question is like, Louis, are you on the side of like legalized pedophilia or Christ is king? Which side are you on? And I'm on the side of erecting a massive crucifix and saying Christ is king. I am on that side if necessary. I don't understand how there's any question what side I'm on. I don't understand how you can't see me as at least your ally to some respect in opposing the other side. I just don't get it. I don't get the people that randomly come across me and it's like, oh no, this guy, I don't know about this guy. This guy, Louis, kind of suspect if you ask me. And it's like, really? Really? Do you not watch any fucking thing I say? I knew some of you would like that. But it really is my perspective. Like, I really don't have a problem with Christians. Like Christians are like, yeah, America's a Christian country and I'm proud to be Christian and blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, sure. Like, what should I have a problem with? Like, it's like, no, fuck you guys. I'm gonna fucking tip my fedora. Christ isn't real. God isn't real. Allow me to tip my fucking fedora, people. It's like, okay, don't you think we're kind of beyond that? And this might be a criticism to some elements of the right, but honestly, don't you think we're kind of beyond that now? Do you really think that, like, atheism is the thing that is, like, the real impetus for the left? Atheism. Like, atheism in many ways is just a consequence. It's just a consequence for their spiraling, totally inverse morality set. Like, their set of morality, like, their belief set, is totally inversed from people who are rational and actually moral, or to some degree moral. Everything that we can say is to some degree moral, their views are the total antithetical. And in my view, atheism for them is just purely just of convenience. It's just like, well, how can you become that much of a materialist? Well, it's like, naturally, atheism is just part of that equation. It's just naturally. You know, same with communism. Is it the atheism that makes the communist, or is it the communist that makes the atheism? And I definitely think it's the latter. I do think it's possible to be an atheist and have a hole and have it filled, but I really do think that what they're arguing isn't atheism, it's an inverse fucking morality set to ours. And I see some people in the chat disagreeing with me, but I have to say, we're just going to have to disagree or make an argument. I put that on your end because I really do think that that's the case, is that the people who are on the left, who are in many ways far more atheist than those on the right, I mean, that's a truism right there. But I believe that their atheism is a consequence of their inverse morality. I really do think it's that. And that the symptom is them being atheistic or atheist. It's not the other way around. So if you disagree, then make an argument. I'm not saying that I know that I'm right. Let's see here. The Gettr says, I'm not really a principled libertarian with the left because they wage war, and war power for my side is paramount. The Pandora's box of government power was opened by them, not by me. It's like refusing to use guns on a modern battlefield because of principles. Yeah, I agree. Gettr has it right. I completely agree with the Gettr here that that is the problem. Is that if we can get to the position where we can put the guns away, that would be nice, and I'd be all in favor of that. But the problem is, how the fuck are we ever going to get there under these circumstances? And this is what I mean. The Gettr gets it. Gettr gets it. I get it. Reality. Reality is. Reality is, and so you must react based on that. It doesn't make it morally perfect, but what can you do? Reality is what it is. It might sound like a platitude or a truism. No, I'm saying it because there's people that are disagreeing with that statement. We have to start with that reality is, and we can only go forward from there. Glowy says, ideologues can't understand anything outside of their ideals. Anything outside their theory is not to be considered. Ignoring reality only speeds up your demise. Ask them what is the reality of the situation. If they don't have an answer, they aren't worth your time. Well, the problem is, Glowy, is that they probably... Glowy, that's a good statement, and I agree. But the problem is that if you put it to them in that sense, if you were to basically put it to them and say, like, explain to me what reality is, I bet you a decent number of them could actually explain reality as it is, but their ideological possession would force them to be unwilling to actually do anything. I do think that some of them can actually recognize what the situation is, at least in some loose sense, but they are just so possessed, and like I said, it's the name of the stream of the Ideological Straightjacket, that they are just simply unwilling to do anything. Even when they understand what the situation is, they just can't bring themselves to provide any solutions because they know that what solutions they may provide aren't going to be ideologically perfect. So they choose to do nothing instead. They're just in constant search for the perfect fucking answer, even though there likely isn't one. And the stupid thing that I can't stand, and it's how you're not dealing with me in an honest fashion, is that you're basically claiming that I'm not interested in, like, a better solution or a better argument or a better thing to do. It's like you think that I'm sitting here saying, oh, there is a better solution, fuck that. No, go with the worst option. Like, that's what you're arguing that I'm saying. Like, that's my perspective. When it's like you couldn't be any less charitable towards me. It's why it gets me so mad. It's like you're just sitting there berating me and insulting me, and it's like, it's just thoughtless. Like, I just can't stand it. I don't like people being thoughtless, and I don't understand how that makes me the bad guy when you are the person being thoughtless. I have put thought into this. I have been thinking about this. I've been thinking about this for years, and I'm trying to give you what insight I have. I'm trying to give you what ideas I have. I'm trying to raise questions so that maybe somebody other than me can think of a better solution that I'm capable of coming up with. I'm the one trying to be decent in this, and yet people come down on me as though that I'm the fucking bad guy for trying to be thoughtful, for trying to get people to think. I'm the bad guy. It just disgusts me because it's like everyone is incapable of being fair to me. You need to show generosity and charity towards every person under the sun. But yours truly, well, fuck me. Fuck me. Don't think about any of the words that are coming out of my mouth. I'm just a malicious actor. So just whatever the worst interpretation of anything that I say is, just use that. Just go with that. You can't be charitable about one word coming out of my fucking mouth. It just angers me to no end because that is what you're doing. That is what you're doing to me. You're showing me no charity at all. And you think that I'm as thoughtless as you are. I am a thoughtful person. Don't ascribe your fucking failures to me. I know what I am and I know what I'm not. Whether that's true for you, who the fuck knows? Only you know. But don't ascribe your failures to me. Oh, holy shit. We got a bunch more. I thought I was done. Sorry. Hang on. I gotta figure out where I was. Oh, holy shit. Okay, found it. Hunter Count says, here's your blown the fuck out, Louis. You have no excuse to not have done a Copcast 3 by now. Yeah, sure. I guess so. I have so much fucking footage, dude. I can't do it today because of my voice, but I have an unbelievable amount of footage for Copcast. It's so crazy. Guess when the South succeeded from the North, they should have pontificated about freedom instead of invading, using force like an authoritarian government. Cowboy Curtis says, the nationalists are winning on the right. The left is still a globalist nightmare, and they are currently the ones in power. I agree with you that if we play it smart, we can win 2022 and 2024. But if the right doesn't have a strong record of playing smart, yeah, you're right. I mean, I'm not saying that the right isn't full of fucking retards, because we still are. But we're making moves. There are moves being made. Things are still shifting. Got to look at it as long-term, cowboy. That's what I say. Don't give any excuses. I'm not trying to do that. Hold people to account. But I'm saying things are shifting. People are making moves. And right now, I'm not saying that it's not in the realm of possibility that we get blown the fuck out in 2022 and 2024, especially when the left, by all appearances, is like, hey, fortification worked in 2020. Let's do it again. Let's fortify the next election. It's very clear that there's a lot of people that want to do it. I've seen a lot of that since then. Since that one article from the Atlantic or whatever it was like, yeah, by the way, we fortified this election. I've seen overt support for doing that again. So it's why they've been hysterical about this watered-down bill in Georgia and all the things that are going down. It's why they're freaking the fuck out about that. It's because they realize that if we do anything about that, we are going to fucking win in 2022 and 2024, because we did win in 2020. And that's the thing that no one can see. You can't say. I had another video taken down, by the way. I can't show you the email. Well, actually, maybe I can. Let me see if I can show you the email. Yeah, right here. It's from late last month. I did a stream that got taken down, and I got a community guideline strike. I talked about the election where I claimed it was fortified, and I got hit with a community guidelines violation for harassment, threats, and cyberbullying. When what I was talking about was, by the way, the election was fortified. And this is what I got. The video was taken down. So, like, they know what's up. We know what's up. Okay? They can dress this up and lie about it as much as they want. We know what's up. They know what's up. So, the fight is over the fortification of elections. So, I'm not on board with all the defeatism. I'm not on board with giving up on the GOP. We are slowly taking over the GOP. Tucker Carlson was out there talking about the replacement of whites on national television 2 days ago. Okay? The most watched right-wing commentator on the right on cable television for boomers is out there talking about whites being replaced in the United States of America. God knows how many millions of fucking people saw that segment. Okay, and that's even beyond shit that I would say. That's beyond shit that I would say. And yet we got the most mainstream elements of the right going out there making straight up nativist arguments. Like, you could not be any more nativist than that. Of whites, basically your argument is whites need to remain the majority. That is the argument. Whites need to stay the majority. And you can't have a more nativist argument than that. And that nativism is beyond that of even nationalism. Nativism is beyond that of nationalism. So when that's where we are, right now we're winning. Okay? I'm not saying we've won and blah, 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 and proud Republican, all this shit. I'm saying we're winning. Doesn't mean we don't have ways to fucking go, or that it's inevitable that we're going to win elections. I am just saying, though, we're winning, and we are. Like, you can't get any bigger than that. You can't get any bigger than that. The only thing bigger is passing policy. That's the only way that you can trump that. Passing policy. That's literally the next step. Anyways, Tom says, hey, dickhead, where have you been? I love you, though. Yeah, I know. It's just, bullshit to talk about, and all of a sudden there's everything to talk about at once, and how you exactly set that up, It is what it is. What can I say? Cowboy Curtis says, the nationalists are winning on the right. Oh, I think I've already read this. Yeah, sorry. Prim Slim, which I believe isn't that the robot from Prim and that museum? Not really refutation, but I do agree partially with Tim Pool. I think people need to leave cities and live rurally. Cities are bad places, but I don't like how the solution is just to run away for the sake of running away. How does the future look, though? Well, I mean, basically, the future is that we are basically going to have to gerrymander the cities into being in a position where they have less ability to vote than us. So rural areas, like, of 1,000 people have 10 congressmen, and cities have 1. That's how it's going to have to be. Like, that is the future. Is, rather than have New York City with 50 congressmen or whatever the fuck it is, they have 6. And that upstate New York has 60. Every person upstate New York, each individual has their own congressman. That is what we're going to have to do. It's not going to be proportional. Because the fact is that the people in the cities want to overthrow the government and tyrannize all of us. They want us all fired. They want our children raped. They want us all dead, and they think it's funny. So when that is the position that we're all in, or that we're in anyways, then it requires us to react to it and do something about it. And it basically is if you have somebody who is dangerous and they have a gun in their hand, you take the gun out of their hand. If you have somebody with a gun in their hand and they're claiming, I'm going to kill you, now I'm not going to say, oh, well, we need to kill them. I'm going to say we should take away their gun because they're murderous. They're saying to us they're going to murder us. And I'm not saying we need to do eye for an eye, we'll respond in that way. I'm saying take away their gun so they can stand there and stamp their feet and say, no, give me back the gun. And it's like, well, sorry, you can't have the gun. You said you were going to murder us. You can't have the gun. We can't trust you with the gun. And the problem is that people are like, well, hold on a second, Louis. It's not liberal to take away the gun. They need the gun. They need the gun, Louis. Isn't that right? Isn't that liberal to have them keep that gun when they say they're going to murder you with it? Isn't that the right thing to do, to let them put that gun against the side of your head and pull the fucking trigger? Isn't that the more moral thing to do from my retarded perspective as a dipshit pacifist? Isn't the moral thing to do to let them murder you? No. I'm not saying kill them. I'm saying take away the gun. And the gun is a metaphor for power. In case some of you are a bit slow. Here, allow me to hold your hand and get the square peg through the square hole. I'm saying take away their power so they can't abuse us. No. Maybe that's true, Baczynski, for Brazil, but I'm not saying that here. We don't need it. We don't need to hurt anybody. We just need to take away the gun. That's all that needs to be done here. Let's see here. Where are we? Patrick says, Louis, the Prince Le Vau, bitch, Nibba, we have an unspoken social credit system here, talking about China. Yeah, that's pretty much what I am saying, is that freedom here is just a myth. Like, what freedom? The freedom to be locked down, the freedom to not be employed if you're right-wing, the freedom to not be able to protest without having every government agency after you. Like, how are we free? What freedoms? Explain to me what our freedoms are. I have the right to not be surveilled by phone companies, banks, and the state itself. I'm free. What is our freedom? And that's why I said it earlier and I was screaming it. You have the freedom to be a sexual degenerate, a moral failure, and to be a junkie. That's what you're free to be in America's society. You could be a leftist, you could be a junkie, you could be a sexual degenerate. Those are your freedoms in America. And it's like, sorry, I'm not a sexual degenerate. Maybe somewhat of a pervert, just not a sexual degenerate. I am not a junkie, and I don't want to be. And I'm not a leftist. So am I free to be those things? No, I'm not. So what freedom? What freedom, ladies and gentlemen? What am I free to do? Freedom in this country is a fucking illusion. And if you don't understand that, you're probably my parents. Icefire says, the argument seems closely entwined with the argument of subjective versus objective reality. People who think reality is subjective think we can do nothing to anyone because it violates their separate reality, while people who know that morality is... Ooh, Icefire, where's the rest? Oh, Icefire, you were making a good point. Where's the rest? Oh no, Icefire. Oh man, Icefire, you're making a good point. You got nothing else on here though. Well, for what Icefire did say, I do agree. I do agree that it seems like Icefire does have a good understanding. He's basically phrasing in a different fashion what I said, that reality is. That this is him explaining that in a greater context and in a bit more articulate fashion than I was. I'm being a little bit on the nose and direct because I feel that I must. You know what I mean? I feel that I must be this fucking direct because it seems like everyone in the grandmother is incapable of understanding the words coming out of my mouth. And what's the name of that actor from fucking the movie with Jackie Chan? Let me look it up. Oh, it's Rush Hour. I'm trying to remember the name of the actor.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
And this is here. I don't have I might have to mute myself just to play this, but I'll play it anyways. This is basically what I'm saying to all of you. And you're driving me insane. You're literally driving me insane with this. Chris,
do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
anyways, yeah, it's literally what I'm saying to you, and you're driving me insane because it's like you really can't understand me. Oh man, Rush Hour. I am looking at the fucking chat. You ran out of money for a follow-up. Anyways, yeah, well, maybe you'll email me. Email me, Icefire, or whatever. Or tweet me. Patrick says, Louis, give me the Chinese spy waifu Le Vau. I would be susceptible, honestly. I don't know if I can really begrudge, what's-his-face, the farting Democrat congressman who fucked Fang Fang. I'm not saying that I'm any better, man. There's a decent chance that I could be just as easily had. The difference would be I probably wouldn't give her any kind of inside information, which she probably did. Burnout says, Louis, I know you're very dedicated to your morals, but I don't see you exhaust yourself fighting the cause, take a break. Don't want to see yourself exhausting yourself fighting for the cause. Well, I'm not really exhausting myself fighting for the cause. Take a break, drink some water, focus on yourself. Don't save the world at the cost of your own sanity. I don't think I'm doing that. So I appreciate the sentiment, but I could see you saying that in an equally sarcastic fashion. I'm not really doing much of anything. Something Wrangler. I don't know what that first word is. Pagaya Wrangler? Arguing with NPCs and zealots is a waste of time and energy. They want our death and destruction. Well, that isn't really who I'm talking about here. I'm arguing with people that would say that they're ostensibly on our side, even though they're fucking not. You know, they're on our side up until you have to fucking do something. Or you find an idea. Oh, we can pass this policy. That would be a good idea. And then they're like, no, do nothing. That's who I'm talking about. They're just useless. Time to live in reality, that they control the power structures and have unlimited funding. Well, that's true. Definitely the latter half of that's true. Morality is academic at this point. Prepare yourself. No, morality isn't necessarily just academic. I see what you're saying, but I disagree. I don't believe that to be true. You know, power is, as it is to say that, but it doesn't mean that when you are given it or you have it, that you wield it in such a manner. Just because you have power or achieved it doesn't mean that you disregard morality. But it does mean that it shouldn't confine you to doing what must be done, in effect. That is basically what I'm saying. As he says, Hail King Louis, King of Kangs, King of America, Emperor of the world, Sovereign of Liberty. The crusade starts in Europe. Oh, man. Well, that's not a good idea. It's not a good idea to, tell a nationalist, okay, time to lead a crusade. It's yeah, that's not a good idea. I'm not sure if I'm going to be showing people, collateral damage doesn't get to really mean much to somebody like me, so it's not a good idea. Seeing Blind says, everyone want to be a Lelouch, but nobody wants to be a Charles to do it. Ready to be a Charles to do it. I'm not sure if I get that reference. Jack O'Neill says, Louis, since the last stream was live, I got married. Congratulations, bought a house. Are you being fucking facetious with this? Bought a house, dog, riding lawnmower, the whole 9 yards. Can I get a fresh N-word? Christian my translation into boomer, to christen my transition into boomer life. Well, congratulations there, Jack. I hope that's all true and you're not being facetious for the sake of mocking me. Baczynski says, if you use force to stop a forced snuggle, the type of conundrum the liberal doesn't get, as he loads his AK while he lines up to be subversive beatniks against the wall, the liberal. Well, that's a very inarticulate way of joking about what I was saying. I agree that these people, it's what I say about Tim. It's Tim thinks he can move out. He moves out. I think Stone Toss, the guy on Twitter, had a comic about this of moving to the woods like Tim did. And the compound he moved to was called Waco, or the other one, Ruby Ridge, whatever it was, or maybe those are the same. I don't know. But that it's pretty much the reference that if you move out to the middle of nowhere to get away from state force, then you'll just be Waco'd. You'll just be murdered by the state, and then no one will care. So don't do that. Don't do that. And I advocate that to nobody. Stand and fight where you are. Because that's what I would do if the people that are part of that movement come to my neighborhood, I'm gonna use the money that I just got from the government, which I haven't spent, is sitting in my account, and I'd go get a rifle, and I try to find some ammo. apparently, like, ammo was sold out everywhere, but I try to find some ammo for that rifle. And I'm not going anywhere. I'll go to jail for the rest of my I'll go to prison for the rest of my life. But I'm not leaving this house, and I'm not letting you burn it down or kill me or anything else. And all I'll say is that I'll get my own Wikipedia page. Put it like that. Count Dankula is gonna do a Mad Lad on me, but it's not gonna be one of the good ones. I think everyone's gonna catch my drift of what I mean by that. I know. Why haven't you got a rifle by now? I know. I don't want to spend the money. Nah, you don't fucking use a bow and arrow. It's like, nah, you can build something more useful than that. You can build something far more useful than a bow and arrow. Let's see here. Brazier says, nationalism will always win because, unlike utopianism, it fights with tangible elements, known quantities that have stood the test of time. Utopia is nothing more than an idea, and on their own, ideas are worthless. Don't promise what can't be provided. Yeah, is it Brazier? Very well articulated. Well said in a very brief statement. Well said. Solomon says, here's some government gibs. At least you have still have a decent nationalist movement. Over here, many are willing to sell out for some EU gibs and open borders. Yeah, it looks that way. Things right now overseas are not very good. Things definitely aren't good here, but it looks like it's no better overseas. Chris says, we need to sack up, and not be tolerant to subversive elements who spit on our morality and want to enact a fucked up system that they think is moral. I had an IRL conversation, and it's clear that people, young especially, are utopic and blind to current affairs. Yeah, I agree. That's all true. Yeah. I absolutely agree. And it's pretty much the position that you're left in, that people like the guy Raging Buffalo who gave me a copy of Cyberpunk. He fundamentally doesn't understand this. You know, I'm not sure he's still listening to this. He was earlier, but he fundamentally doesn't understand the nature of power. He doesn't get it. Like, he thinks that I'm the guy that you put into position and I don't care, and I'm just going to do all these awful things because I'm vindictive and all. Like, that's what he thinks of me. Like, that's how he thinks that I think. When he doesn't understand that when you are dealing with people that are evil and that are more than willing to use any kind of force against you to destroy you, to kill you, to genocide you, to imprison you, like, it's all the pieces are there. Like, all the pieces are there. Like, I've seen people spell this out. Like, I've seen Matt Walsh, like, who's not a radical guy, talking about the demonization of whites. Well, what's the next step? Like, when you have people that everyone considers to be either kind of like a shill or a moderate, when he's like, yeah, they're demonizing whites and that's leading to something, then the question for you is, well, the point is you have to defend yourself. Like, you have to take away their gun. That's the minimum of what you have to do if you want to survive. You can't tuck tail and go live in the woods. They're just going to go burn down your compound eventually. You have to move together, coalesce, and work to take away their gun. Not because you want to kill them, not because you're vindictive, but because you don't want to die. Because they're coming to kill you. And if not, they're going to oppress you forever. You don't have a choice but to take away their gun, their power, their means by which to oppress or kill you. But unfortunately for Guys like him and guys like I argue with on Twitter and all of this, they just don't get it. Like, they think I'm being vindictive. They think that I'm arguing to oppress people. Like, they just don't get it. They don't get what I'm arguing. They don't understand. Like, it's like I was saying earlier. They understand what the situation is, but they just can't continue on with that train of thought. It's like a truck jackknifing off a fucking throughway. Like, they just can't keep going forward. They don't understand that the next step is for you to disempower your enemies. They've made themselves your enemies. They're not giving you a choice. The next step, the track forward, is for you to take away their power so they don't hurt you. You have to do it. It isn't you do nothing. That is not an option. Then you will be oppressed. You will be murdered. And most people that are capable of some sort of abstract thinking, of carrying through that thought of what must be done, what is ultimately necessary to do, everyone understands it. Anyone with any kind of sense, they understand it. You know, Tucker Carlson understands this. I understand this. Nick Fuentes understands this, but he's more vindictive than I am, arguably. Matt Walsh understands this. Freaking Steven Crowder understands this shit. Like, you don't have to be some sort of fucking galaxy-brained, you know, you even when you're someone that's not splitting atoms with your fucking mind, you can follow this through. That in order for you to stop what these people want to do to you, you have to fucking stop them. It requires action on their part. It's simply necessary. And I don't understand why people want to make me out to be the bad guy for simply saying it. Anyways, let's see here. The guest says, I think you're too hard on Tim. I'll have anyone but Nick Fuentes on Pool over the compound thing. I think we should all have these little shithole cities full of people who hate us. In the internet age, there's no downside to fleeing the unsafe madhouse of cities. Well, I'm not begrudging him from moving away from cities, but I am saying that he's moving away from the city and not advocating anything that would ever change it. So I do think that I'm being properly... I think I'm being overly generous to Tim Pool and being overly fair towards him, when that is something that I could definitely argue against him, that he moves away and offers nothing to actually change shit. You know, every city would be like the one he just left if we just listened to him. You know, Jesus Christ. I might have to wrap this up, because I got fucking people calling me. Let's see here. Diddly Dooler says, glad Streamlabs hasn't struck you down. Collections to the pastor. Yeah, I would say that I am small enough to not be on their radar for them to do that. Because I do know that they do take down people's channels and that at the drop of a hat. But I'm small enough that they haven't caught on, so I can get away with it. Here to throw some gas in the flames. This is Narco Republican says, what's your take on the NRX position of giving up the Constitution? Aren't they as weak as centrist liberals with their defeatism? They don't want to fight back, but to retreat and build a parallel society. Yeah, that's a dumb idea, because there is going to be no parallel society. That the parallel society that you will build will basically be stripped down and destroyed. Your choice is win the system that we have now, take over the system that we have now, and then start gearing it towards the way by which that they can't take it back. And basically we have authority to do what we want. and then just wait a couple. The thing is, you take over, you change the system, you basically upend the apple cart for all their shit, like the voting plantation, free housing, welfare, all that. You just end it all, and you prevent it so that they can't actually change it. Jesus fucking Christ. You're ultimately left to change the system so they can't get back in, and once you change the system to the degree that you've now defeated their plantation, and you've defeated basically a huge segment of their power base, then they are defeated. Then then the guns can go back into the locker, or into the Pandora's box can close, because they're then defeated. But it requires you to take away all the means by which that they are in power. You have to do that first. But yeah, I don't think it's like getting rid of the Constitution. It's like, well, that's what you're really fighting for. If you're not fighting for the Constitution, you're fighting for some abstract idea of conservatism or being white, which no one agrees on, and I find to be superfluous. Like, just why do that when you have something that's far superior and you can easily morally defend? The guarantor of your rights, I think, is good enough. I don't think it's required to go through abstract shit that is unnecessary. Anyways, where were we? So yeah, I'm not on board with parallel society, balkanization, blah blah blah. I'm about changing the laws, gaining power, changing the laws some more, attacking our enemy's power base until it's destroyed, and then we can actually live in a decent society again. It'll probably take 2 generations. Okay, you look at it through a harsh enough lens, it's going to take 2 generations for that to happen. Okay, that's being generous, of phasing out what is now popular. Like, what is conventional wisdom? What are social norms? 2 generations. That's what I think it's going to take. I probably won't be alive to see it. Glowy says, Tim Pool is from the Vice or media big city ideologies. Anyone thinks he wants rights to prevail is delusional. Tim is borderline socialist based on his own political test results, so his ideals will only lead to ruin. Yeah, I agree with that opinion, Glowy. I believe the whole left libertarian thing to be kind of a canard, that they think that everything is right is nothing, and they think that everything is a right and nothing is a right simultaneously. Like, their ideology is internally contradictory, just like the progressives, and they have no power. So why would I give a shit what they think? The same argument is what I'd say about Dev. Dev, I would say, is the same way. Internally contradictory ideology is what he believes in. He believes himself completely different to progressives, but his worldview is in essence the same thing, and he's incapable of defending it, whether or not he understands that what he believes is inherently contradictory. Let's see here. The Evangelist says, thoughts on PSA Sitch. Guy has become an insufferable intellectual dark web cocksucker since he started doing that podcast with Adam Friended. I don't really follow either, so I can't comment on either one of them. I know who both are. I've spoken to Adam Friended, I think, a few times, but not much more than that, so I can't really comment on him or this other guy who I don't believe I've ever spoken to. Chris Capitalist says, to the boomer saying Joe Biden isn't my president, have you paid your federal taxes? Why? The answer is force. That is the answer. William Icebane says, ex-white supremacists here, now center-right, struggle sometimes with my principles against the commies. On one hand, I'm very individualistic and don't want to see others harmed. On the other, I can see the enemy and their morality for what it is, evil, 1 out of 2. Well, it's good that you're an ex-white supremacist, because I would say that it's one of the people have said, like, oh, Louis, when are you going to become a white nationalist? And it's like, well, never, because I think that it's a self-defeating view. One, I don't think it to be moral, and two, I think it to be a self-defeating view, that you have a harder time actually justifying your positions and distancing yourself from your opposition, other than to say that, well, we're team white and they're team black or non-white. And the problem is that if you are, in essence, morally equivalent, then it makes it a lot easier for the average retard to just side with your opposition. And I would say that it's not a good... It doesn't make you any more thoughtful of a person to go down that road. I think it makes you less thoughtful and a lot easier to defeat in that way. So it's one of the reasons why I don't advocate going down that road, because I think that it isn't going to help us. It isn't going to help anybody, and it's especially not going to help you, because a lot of the people that I have seen who are basically like white nationalists or white supremacists or those kind of people, they don't tend to have families. They don't tend to be friendly with people. They don't seem to have good lives, and their arguments aren't very good. Like, they're so antisocial towards everyone that even when they can make a good argument, no one still wants to associate with them. And it's not just, oh, I'm afraid of being labeled a white nationalist or whatever. It's because, like, simply because I'm not you, you fucking hate me. And I've had experiences like that. I just had one the other day where some griper was just bad-mouthing me in every way. And it's like, why? Like, I don't, like, demonize Nick Fuentes. I'm a nationalist, and I'm, like, retweeting him, and I'm agreeing with him, and it's like, I can agree with you. I can say that you're right about this. I can do this, I can do that, and you still shit on me. And that's what I mean. Like, they're just antisocial people. And for whatever reason, when you are that way, you just become a thoughtless and antisocial person, and then it's just, like, impossible to associate with you in any way. It's impossible for us to do anything, to go anywhere, to accomplish anything, because of you. Not because of me, because I'm a cuck or this or that. It's because of fucking you. So, congratulations to you for not being that thing anymore. And I would say you're better off for that, because you're probably more thoughtful now than you were then. And that should always be encouraged, irrespective of what your position is. And it's why I don't shit on Nick Fuentes. I don't demonize Nick Fuentes. I would say that based on our ideological perspectives, we do in some way disagree. And I'd like to take him, bring him towards my perspective. But the thing is that he does come across as a thoughtful person. He's actually thinking about things. He's actually thinking about his own perspective. He's thinking about what's going on, what should be done, and that when things are done that ultimately align with his perspective and with his interests, he celebrates those things. He doesn't say, well, that guy's a cuck, that guy's cringe, that guy's this, and fuck them. Which is what I see from a lot of people that are ultimately on what you could say are his side. And it's why I wish he would get off that side. Walk away, not abandon his whole perspective and whatever, but not be part of that element of what is his side, because it doesn't bring anyone on board, not because I'm afraid of being called a name. It's because of you. Because a lot of the people that are with you, they just hate me and others like us because we're not them. And even when we agree, they're just totally thoughtless. And I've had that experience over and over and over again for fucking years. And, my fear is that if I joined that, if I was like, okay, I am a white nationalist or some shit now, like, I accept that perspective, that I'm going to become that. I'm basically going to become a right-wing NPC. That I'm now just a less thoughtful person. And I don't want to be that way. William Icebane says, P.S. Novit intim Dominus sunt Ellis. Kill them all and let God sort them out. Oh, thank you for that, William, but I disagree. It's a very common phrase. I don't know why you're putting it in fucking... Is that Latin? I hope it's Latin. Mainly says, I'm just surprised. I'm just surprised just how brazen the corpos are acting right now. And I expect them to be even crazier from here on out. Yeah, it is getting really crazy. I listened to 2 anecdotes recently of people who went to, like, a mall and then somewhere else, and they were basically saying how, like, every store is championing, like, SJW causes now. Like, everywhere. It's just everywhere now. Everything in every place is championing SJW causes now. And it's like, yeah, it's everywhere now. It's everything and everywhere. Like, it's literally becoming hegemonic in everything. It's insane. And it's why I'm not on board with doing nothing. It's like, what world are you living in? What world? Like, you accept this? Like, the freedom of America where you're free to be a leftist and nothing else. You know, do you want to have a bank account? Do you want to use Twitter? Do you want to be able to upload content online? Do you want to be able to have a bank account or get a loan or do anything? Well, you have to be a leftist. Freedom! You know, like, it's a joke. You know, better to have that than to do something, right, guys? What kind of fucking world are you living in? Man, China's so much more immoral than we are. It's like, you're retarded. Yeah, I forget who it is, but the other day, it was 2 anecdotes of 2 separate people. And I agree with them. I concur completely. One went to a mall, one went to, like, a plaza or something. And there was just SJW propaganda in every storefront. It was fucking everywhere. And it's not like they live in San Francisco. It's just like a normal suburban environment, and there's just SJW propaganda fucking everywhere. And it's just like, yeah, that's the country we live in now. Oh, shit. Oh, where was I? Billman says, I had a falling out with some of my leftist friends a few weeks ago over something I said last year. And from that argument, I've come to realize that these types of people are children who can't see past their feelings. Yeah, try not to lose friends over politics. I've learned that when it comes to your friends and family, the smarter thing is just to not talk about it. Like, it's just a waste of fucking time. You basically got to feel people out and see if they're at least willing to hear you out. And if they're not, just don't talk about it. I've already explained this before. It's just not worth it, because then you're going to be fucking alone and you're ready to put a gun in your fucking mouth. So don't do it. Jack says, for $6.50, it was... It would be... I'm reading another super chat. It would be easier for whites to be the majority if white women weren't so insufferable. Yeah, tell me fucking about it, bro. Many white women these days are like your thought at 30 video. My wife Mexican is based in turbo traditional. And well, congratulations to you, Jack. I mean, that's basically one of the upsides of some of the imports that we get to America, is that a lot of the people that we're importing from, like, poorer nations or less developed nations, less modern nations, is that feminism just really hasn't taken root, and that women in some of these nations are like, well, I don't want to be fucking disgusting and angry all the time, so I'm not going to be a feminist. And so they basically, that is basically the biggest thing that I've seen with women, is that they think that feminists are, like, disgusting, man-hating dykes, and they don't want to be fat, disgusting, man-hating dykes, so they basically become more traditionalist based around that. And it basically is like their saving grace. Like, they save their own lives. Like, they have like, they can be happy sometime in their life based on the fact that they have that disposition. Like, they're disgusted with that, so they don't engage with it. They, like, block it off. And that's been my experience in life. It's not exactly something that I've talked to many women about in the course of my lifetime, but it is, like, one of the conservative women that I spoke to in college. I think when I was at Buff State, I talked about that with her. my neighbor's currently mowing the lawn, that, like, why aren't you a feminist? And it was basically like, well, like, I don't want to be disgusting, so that's why. And it's like, okay. Wow. Wow, that is really fucking loud. Okay, I might have to wrap this up because I got serious fucking noise pollution. Let's see here. Blah blah blah. Okay, Glowy says the guy is thoughtless but slothful and placated. He has video games and food. He won't move until they break down his door. I agree, Glowy. Naki says money lol. Thank you, Naki. Cowboy says for $20, Copcast of the Minnesota woman police officer. No, she doesn't. She deserves a video on her own, basically shitting on her. William says William's donated a lot of money in the stream, so thank you to William. William has sent a lot of money. 2 out of 2, and the only way I can see of disposing of the evil is to eradicate it. I want to eradicate others who are non-whites, blah blah blah. I don't know, it's fucked. People like you and others were able to help me in my deconversion. Thank you, fag. Well, thank you there, William, for the big donations. But no, it's basically unnecessary. Like, from your perspective, it's, well, you're dealing with a snake, so you gotta stomp on it until it's dead. And I'm saying, no, bro, just rip its fangs out, and then it's harmless. What the fuck is the snake gonna do? Unless it's like a boa constrictor or some shit, but it's not what it is. It's a venomous snake. How do you defeat a venomous snake? You don't need to kill it. You just rip its fangs out, and then it's harmless. It can slither around. It can do whatever it wants. It can't hurt you anymore. You know, it doesn't have the means to hurt you anymore, and that's what I'm saying. You strip away their power. You take away their power base. You make it ineffective, and then the war's over. It's done. They can sit there and be woke and say whatever. They can bleat endlessly into the ether, into the abyss. They can do whatever they want, but they will simply no longer have the mechanisms at their disposal to oppress us. And once that's achieved, the war's done. They will just be toothless. And that is what needs to be done. I'm not arguing for anything more than what is necessary for us to win and for our enemy to be defeated. I'm not arguing for vengeance. I'm not arguing for vindictiveness, because despite what somebody said earlier in the chat, I think, vindictiveness is a womanly trait, so that's why I don't advocate it. I'm arguing for simply the necessity. That's all I argue. And that's all I argue is necessary, is simply the necessity of what is required to strip away their power so that they can no longer hurt us. They can go split off and do whatever they want, but we're going to be the ones with power. It's the only way that we can settle this, is when we have the power and they don't, because they're trying to kill us. They're trying to hurt us. They're trying to oppress us, legitimately. They don't want us to have loans. They don't want us to have bank accounts, credit cards. They don't want us to be able to upload stuff online. They don't want us to be able to speak anywhere. We can't publish books. We can't publish articles. We can't do anything. They want us free to be able to be locked in our homes or dead. Like, that is what they want from us. We're free to be left-wing or we're dead. So, no. This ends when we strip away their power. When we get rid of all the mechanisms, they're done, and it's over, in my view. No vengeance, no vindictiveness. End it right then and there. But not before. That's my perspective, and I think I'm absolutely right about it. William also says for another big donation, okay, this is where you say kill them and let God sort them out. Okay, sorry, I skipped over those super chats by mistake. Sorry about that, Billy. I'm calling you Billy, bro. You've earned the name. You'd be like, don't call me Billy. I'm calling you Billy, bro. There's nothing you can do. No, I was about to say Dick. Dick is short for Richard, sorry. That'd be unfair. I'm going to call you Dick even though your name's William. That'd be fucked up. I'm just surprised just how brazen the corpos are acting. I already read that. The Friends thing. The white women. By the way, the Jack, about that, the girl in the Thought at 30 video, yo, that chick wasn't even white. So I know what you mean, but it's not even true. Like, it's like middle class women. I think that's who you can say are the most insufferable. Are like women with some wealth, women that come from like middle class families. It's like you got like girls that are from conservatrad families who flip a coin whether they're fucking feminists or not. Because I see that a lot. Women who are like, well, I'm conservative and I'm from a trad family. Yet when push comes to shove, like, they're no different. Their mindset is exactly the fucking same. It's weird. They're conservative in name only themselves. But it's wealth. I think it has to do with class. Bruh for a big super chat with $68.95, which may be a reference to something. Bruh says, speak more truth, shouty man. Well, thank you for the big super chat, bruh. Thank you for the chat, bruh. Mega Max says, hey Louis, this is the base department, and you are based in reality on morality. Reality is what it is. It's time to use the left's tactics against them, cancel them, tyrannize them, and destroy them. Leave them in a ditch with a destroyed boy hole. Well, you're exaggerating my point, but I understand what your perspective is. And it is, like, in order to take the fangs out of a snake's mouth, it requires force. That is basically the truth that we have to accept, and it is the reality as it is. If we want to defeat the left, it is going to require force. It is, like, for us to defang them, it requires force. We have to rip out the fangs. But the fact is that the choice is either we rip out the fangs or we allow ourselves to be bitten eventually. So I'm on board with ripping out fangs. No Name says, and it is literally just a blank, says, going to miss this stream, unfortunately. The amount we have lost to the culture war is insane. The army is 90% Trump supporters, and they have all these equal opportunity and sexual harassment programs. It's top down, and no one can speak out. Oh, the army is 90% Trump supporters, and, well, I mean, the thing is that's who's in charge. Elections have consequences, especially fortified ones. What can I say? Baczynski says, Louis making his way to the top score list. Yeehaw. Well, that is pretty much what I'm saying about defending my home. Blank Name says, continuation. The army has went from not being able to join as a fag to getting kicked out for saying fag in 10 years. They care more about a soldier being a racist, xenophobe, or sexist than a spy. Yes, that is true. The state of the modern army is disappointing. Yeah, what can I say? I wouldn't be fighting in any fucking wars for this nation. I'll tell you that. If you're in the military and we're about to fucking war, if you're in the military and we're about to go to war, excuse me, we're about to war. If we're about to war, get out of the military. That's all I can say. And with Biden, bro, is like we literally have a dementia patient as running for as president. Okay, like I get out. Hunter says if nightmare scenario happens, more fortified elections, amnesty for 30 million, Puerto Rico and DC get statehood, etc. Is any path to victory from there, even if it takes generations? Well, there is a path forward, but it's like basically. There is a means by which now that is very clear and that is very political and doesn't require any kind of evil thing by my view. Like, it's not something that any average what is necessary for us to do now is not controversial in any sense. But if the scenarios that you just listed happen of endless fortified elections, amnesty, Puerto Rico, DC, like, that's basically when we start ratcheting up to 1776 territory. Let's put it like that, even though that could get me banned off YouTube. Like, at that point, then it's like, well, things change, and probably at that point we don't have the numbers, unfortunately. Because those 30 million that we bring in, they will be drafted. If anything ever goes down in this country where that happens, and there's like, it's 1776 2.0, the race soldiers that we're importing are going to be drafted into an army. I don't ever want that to be true, but I'm calling it now. That is going to be what happens. The draft is sitting there. The draft isn't gone. People can pretend otherwise. The draft is still just sitting there. And if anything ever happens in this country, like a civil war, the draft will come back in a second, and the 30 million that get amnesty, they will be drafted. Because there's already an example of that, of National Guardsmen from Puerto Rico that came for January 6th. That is a clear signal to what's going on. You'd have to be fucking blind to not see the implication of that. Of after January 6th, they brought in whatever amount of fucking National Guardsmen from Puerto Rico. It's already right there in front of you what they plan on doing. So, open your fucking eyes, people. Reyes says mass vaccines lockdowns were extreme social changes put on us because the left, and yet resistance to it does not have a political home. How does liberty movement deal with the problem that race is a more salient issue? It's basically just appealing to a nationalist perspective where we're the people who love America and that we're the people who embrace Americana. And it's a lot of symbolism. It's a lot of pageantry. That's basically the thing that we're not doing well enough right now, which is basically taking WWE pageantry and implementing that into our agenda. So we have an agenda, we have policies, we have serious politics, and then we have the symbolism and pageantry of being the nationalist movement. People can make fun of idiocracy, but a point of idiocracy is that even when people are at their most base, nationalism can trump race. And I think that is true. I think that is a true statement, that nationalistic appeal does trump race, and that our path forward is to do that. Are we going to win everybody? No. But then that's what we have one-way tickets to Liberia for. This is a problem that we can solve. There is a distinction that we can make. Like, you can have the filter in place of grillers. Grillers, what was the other category I had? Gibbers and grillers, was that it? Like, you keep the grillers, and then you section off and filter off the fucking gibbers. And that the gibbers go. We can do that. It is possible. And that's pretty much what's required. So, race is something that we can't actually defeat, but it is going to be us addressing, like, we're basically going to have to take on the argument of the left based in and around race and basically say, no, whites are the native population to America. We are the native population. We're the ones who started this country. You can say whatever you want to, oh, whites and all this, because the fact is that every time you say that America is a white supremacy and all this and that and the founders, and it's like, oh, they're whites and they're slave owners, they're evil. It's like, okay, every argument you make, you're saying that whites are the native population to America. Okay, fine. I accept your argument. It's our country. Now what? Oh, the founders were all white, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah, the native population of America is white. We're the majority. It's our country. Now what? Why don't we have why are you trying to oppress us when we're the majority, when it's our nation? You're claiming it's not yours. You want to start a new one. Well, why would we accept that? It's our nation. Our nation. Our nation. And all that you need to do from there is say, like, well, you need to decide, are you an American or do you want to change the country and be something, have America be something other than America? Make a choice. Are you American or are you in favor of something other than America? And have it be that, clear. And just start going after the people who say, no, I want something else. I want something other than America. Or I want to hurt white people. I want to displace white people. I want to genocide white people. Or whatever. Whatever their arguments are, then you just start, you expose what their arguments are, saying that, the demonization of whites, their anti-white bigotry, and that it isn't just stopping at bigotry. They're going somewhere with it. And there's a lot of people now on the right that understand this, that are just saying that they got a plan for white people and it's not good. So, like, basically, I have met black people, okay? I have met black people who are on board with the idea that being anti-white is wrong. And that there are anti-white people out there, and fuck them. So the grillers do exist, and it isn't just with blacks, it's with all these other people as well. So the question is basically you appeal to a nationalist movement, you appeal to a nationalist identity, and you start saying that, you start asking that question. Do you want to demonize whites? Do you want America to be something other than America? You just go down the line, you ask those questions. And I imagine there's going to be a considerable number of people that are going to say, no, I'm not on board with that. I'm not on board with that side. Fuck those people. I want America to be America. I don't hate white people. I'm fine with America being white majority, etc., etc. Okay, those of us that have any kind of extended group of people that we're friendly with, we've all at least met somebody who's not white that holds those views. So it's not impossible. And the problem is that the right wing currently is still engaging in the idea of talking about race, but it's arguably just from a left-wing perspective, which is just patronizing people who are black or who, whatever, non-whites. It's just patronizing them. And from my perspective, people who are willing to join us definitely do not want to be patronized to. They want the opposite. So we should not do that if we want to win and have these people on our side. They don't want to be patronized to. And I think that the nationalist movement is going to be the way that we win this. Anyways. I'm gonna wait to buy a rifle until the government is knocking down my door, even though I could buy one now. That's you. How much money have I contributed to the gun fund, Louis? If you think you might need one in the future, stop being lazy and buy one. Yeah, like I said, there's a decent chance that I could get a job in the near future. I'm waiting to hear back on as it relates to something. And if it goes the way that I'd like it to, I'll probably go out and buy a rifle. The other issue is, too, I don't really want to go out and buy a retarded New York compliant rifle with a stupid stock. I really, really don't want one of those. But that's pretty much my option here. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, now I found my place. Rhea says, oh, no. Oh, God, I fucked up again. I really got to wrap this up. Ural says, there is no tenable way of trying to take back power in the current political paradigm. Constructing innocuous, self-reliant conservative communities who can outlast the inevitable collapse of the mainline institutions, to me, are the only feasible strategy. Not when they can print their own money, bro. I would say that you fundamentally don't understand the nature of reality and the way that it is. So you're basically banking on something where it's like, bro, hyperinflation is going to kick in and collapse. And it's like, no, we're going to do this retarded attempt at balkanization. They're going to Waco us, and then everyone else is going to be terrified, and they win. So we shouldn't do that. I think you got a bad idea that even if it were true, that all hope is lost, your solution is not going to work. They're just going to Waco you. Charlie says, want to see Louis have a chat with, I think it's Academic Agent. I know you've spoken to him once before, but I feel like it would be very interesting with your opposing demeanors. The Geth says, I'm not a Christian, but I will scream Mark of the Beast whenever vaccine passports are brought up, because I think that's an accurate comparison. I don't know if Mark of the Beast is really what it is. I've seen like people say that about like barcodes and shit or whatever, but I would say that it has more to do with like fundamentally like the beginning of a social credit system and totalitarian control. So I just love everyone's faggot argument about, oh, China and all this. It's like, yeah, we're basically one step shy from being fucking China, except for we don't have the genocide of Muslims. So I was about to say something that I won't say, but you can imagine what spicy thing I was going to say next. mainly says, I recall Dev podcast extra takes, and what come up was conflicting view of Fuentes of him being a white nationalist between Dev, who thinks he is, and Scrumps, who thinks he isn't. I want to hear from you what exactly he is. He's more of a white nationalist than he isn't, but he isn't totally, like, he's basically not an orthodox white nationalist. That's what I would say. That is more his perspective than it isn't, but he's not, like, he's not demagogic about it, or, well, demagogic is the wrong word. He's not dogmatically a white nationalist, but he is more that than he isn't. But I think when people just say, like, oh, well, he's a white nationalist, what they basically mean is more like a Richard Spencer, like, cringe kind of guy. That he's basically on a similar side to that, but he's basically not that. The question that with Nick that's outstanding is if a civil nationalist came into power and basically accomplished everything that he would want, would he be, and I've already said this several times before, would he accept that as victory? And I would give him the benefit of the doubt in saying that he would declare victory even under the circumstances by which that a white nationalist was not in power. So he wouldn't get 100% of what he'd want, but perhaps he gets 80%. I would say that in the 80% would pretty much be what I would want. And my position would be he would be willing to declare victory and not take it any further. And so I would say that is basically the argument. Scrump would probably take the same perspective that I'm taking here. That he's not irrational, that there is a line in which that we would be comfortable, Scrump and I would be comfortable with, because we're not dipshit leftists. And I gotta say with Dev, that Dev is the same guy. Dev is the guy that would rather do nothing and then lose and begrudge all of us that want to do something, because our solutions are not morally perfect according to him. Dev is that guy. So, sorry, but he's too much of a coward to ever debate it, so that's how it is. William says, other message must not have sent anyway, just is that you and people like you were able to help me in my own self deconversion when I think I already read that, to intellectually converse without being offhandedly disregarded. Thank you again, keep it up, faggot. Yeah, I already read your shit, but thank you again for the chat there, William. Bazinski says, yes, exactly, Louis. Here in the third world, poverty is more of a problem than dealing with feminism. Middle-class retards are the only ones dealing with feminism and being disgusting fat advocates while living in lavish houses like a left-hard I know. Yep, what can I say? That's just universally true. It's just like, it really is like an international conspiracy without the conspiracy. Where all these people, regardless of, like, they could be speaking English, they could be speaking English with an accent, or they could be speaking Portuguese. But they're all the same fucking retard. Like, it's why NPC is so applicable. Because you're just changing the code slightly, but it's basically the same programming. It's pathetic. And it really is basically a symptom and classifiable as being part of wealth. Like, from wealth, you have this NPC perspective. It's fucking unbelievable. I mean, how different, how far apart is America and fucking Brazil? How fucking different could those two nations be, and how distant could they be? And how is it that this guy and I are basically saying, oh yeah, here's all these similarities. Here's all these similarities. Is it that him and I have all these similarities, or that we're dealing with a similar opposition? That our opposition is so identical to one another that you barely are able to distinguish them, other than one's white, one of them's Brazilian, whatever you would refer there, and white Spanish, whatever the fuck, and they're speaking a different language, but otherwise they're completely identical. What does that say? How weird is that? In what part of history would that be the same? Because even back in the 40s, the Italian fascists weren't the same as the Spanish. They weren't as same as the Germans. Like, even back then, when people are operating on the same, like, ideologies, they're not entirely identically the same. You know? Nazi Germany is not the same as fascist Italy is not the same as fascist fucking Spain. They're not the fucking same, even though they're the same ideology. They all argue the same ideology. Yet when it becomes to, like, progressive leftism, it's fucking the mere goddamn image no matter what country you're in. How fucking bizarre is that? Think about that for a second. Billy Bro says, lol, I keep the same, I'll keep the name, lol, I'll keep the name, kept saying fag, ironically, cause I was metaphorically sucking your dick, no homo. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm going to bang my big-titted German GF, gonna fat hide the Nazi what? I don't even understand what the fuck you're saying there, but thank you for the money. The Get says, SJW narratives are consolidated and they think voter ID is fascism. You see what they did last year. Your policies will result in CW2. The joggers would become too savage to have a country with. I'm not sure if I'm following what you're saying there, so I can't really respond. Brazer says, Pastor, do you see any parallel between honor and ethics, or are they one and the same? Well, honor is a part of being ethical. So I'm not sure if I understand what you're saying. Can a society without honor be ethical? Can a society without ethics be honorable? Well, I would say that the latter is more true than the former, that a society without ethics cannot be honorable. I would say that there is far more likelihood that that is true than the opposite. Because there are honor societies that are, from their perspective, honorable, that are shit. And act in all sorts of unethical ways that in many ways are dishonorable. At least from my perspective, they would be, and many that share my perspective. But a society without any kind of ethical, or I guess you could say a moral foundation, I would say that's how you should say instead of ethics, but a moral foundation, because that is one and the same ultimately, but that is basically the bedrock of what you're arguing, is that a society without a moral foundation, can it be honorable? I would say no. I would say that that's likely not possible. Because if you don't have a moral foundation, why would being honorable be a good thing? Like, why would you care about being honorable if you have no moral foundation? To be honorable requires a moral prerequisite. It means that your mind is already operating on a presupposition about your own behavior and the behavior of others, and it's all these things before you even get to the idea of being honorable yourself or acting in an honorable fashion. Others recognize that honorable behavior. Like, you have to have that foundry. You have to have that foundry. You got to have that foundry of a moral foundation. Yeah, so hopefully that makes sense. So that's it for the Super Chats. I really got to call back. I had 2 people call me. I got to call them back. So we will, I guess, wrap this up here. If you have any more questions, send them in very, very quickly, and I'll read them very quickly, but I got to go. I got to figure out who was calling me and why, because I got 2 voicemails now. I got to find out what was going on there. But thanks for the Super Chats. I'm sorry it's been so long since I've done anything. I'm conflicted about what I'm going to do for the near future. So, we'll see what happens there. But, if there's anything else, get it in real quick. Otherwise, we got to wrap this up. For some reason, my sinuses are all fucked up. The weather in this area is, like, all over the place. It was, like, cold yesterday, and then It's like warming up today where it was supposed to be like 50 and all of a sudden it's almost 70. It's like, what the fuck is going on? No, is that going to be it? All right, well, I guess we will wrap this up then if that's going to be it. So yeah, I just thought I would talk about what happened earlier on Twitter just because I had a couple of people say that I should do a stream, and I was like, yeah, fuck it. I think it's worth saying because I'm just so tired of people totally, trying to just misrepresenting my views and arguing against strawmen and thinking they walked away the moral superior. It's like, fuck off. You guys are so dumb. But anyways, hopefully everyone enjoyed the stream and I got my point across well enough in every regard to what I talked about here today. And we'll see about what I do in the near future, including Copcast. I have enough footage, but I got to set all that up. All right, so thanks for all the super chats. A few of you were very generous today, and I thank you for it. And I'd stick around for longer, but unfortunately, I got to figure out who's calling me and why and straighten that out. All right? Well, I'll talk to you hopefully.